It's a truly horrifying image. A woman being brutally beaten by Egyptian security forces, and it has created outrage at the country's military rulers. It's boiling over in Egypt and beyond. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoom is in Cairo.
They marched to prove they're not afraid. Over 1,000 women showing they will not be cowed, despite the escalating tensions and a growing crackdown in Cairo. Many converged on Tahrir Square to voice extreme anger about the brutality recently faced by female protesters, holding up placards. Reminders of horrific scenes like this one. An Egyptian woman being beaten by riot police, dragged, partially stripped of her clothing, even stomped on.
The women marching today, not just expressing outrage at the treatment of female protesters these past few days, also expressing extreme anger at the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces.
When former President Hosni Mubarak was ousted, the military took over, promising to establish a democratic government. But protesters are calling for the council's removal, accusing them of betraying Egypt's revolution, blaming them for the brutality.
What the army is doing to the Egyptian people right now is an international crime. They should be tried for this.
Underscoring just how tense and volatile the situation here has become, a protective ring was formed around the women as they walked. As more men joined a predominantly female crowd, the numbers grew as the march went on, expressing defiance and solidarity in the face of danger.
I'm here to violently condemn the attacks on Egyptian men and women by the Egyptian army. We will not be quiet, we will not let this happen again, and we will continue to voice out our anger against this military junta that is killing this country.
And Mohammed Jamjoom is joining us now from Cairo. Mona Eltahawy, the journalist, is joining us from New York. Mohammed, first to you. You just came from a hospital where you met with one woman who was with this woman who was brutalized. She herself is in pretty serious condition. What did she say to you? What's going on?
Well, Wolf, we had scheduled an interview with a woman named Azza Hilal Suleiman. She's a woman whose beating at the hands of the security forces had also been caught on that same tape that we referenced in our piece a few minutes ago. We got there today. We were given access to her by her family, but it was a horrifying scene. Inside that hospital room, she was writhing in agony, screaming in severe pain. Her head was bandaged. We were told her skull had been fractured due to multiple blows to the head by the riot police. She had abrasions to her face, a lot of bruises. We couldn't ask her any questions. We tried, but she was in too much pain. She was screaming out that she felt like she was going to die, that she needed help. And at that point, we were told that she might be taken to the ICU. So we don't know right now what her condition is or how much she has worsened over the past few hours. We're trying to find that out. But if I can also take you back to the video of her beating. We talked earlier about the video of a woman in a blue bra. She had been partially stripped of her clothing. She had been beaten by security forces, stomped on even. The woman who we spoke with today, Azza, who we went to visit, she tried to help this woman up. She went to her side. Then the riot police converged upon her. They started kicking her. They started beating her. She sustained multiple blows to the head by clubs. It's amazing that she could have survived this. And this is just one of many videos that's sparking so much outrage here in Cairo right now and across Egypt. People just can't understand why women protesters are being brutalized in this fashion by the riot police here.
I certainly can't understand that. Mona, you were just there and you were brutalized. They broke your arms. They're still in bandages right now. Briefly remind our viewers what happened to you on the streets of Cairo.
Well, about 3.5 weeks ago, Wolf, when I was on Mohammed Mahmoud Street, very close to Tahrir Square, I was surrounded by riot police who beat me and broke my left arm and my right hand, and they sexually assaulted me. I had their hands all over my body. I was literally taking hands out of my pants, hit on the head, and taken to the Interior Ministry and military intelligence and detained for 12 hours, during which I was denied any medical care. So those images that are coming out of Cairo right now hit very close to my broken bones. It's very difficult. I've not been able to watch any of those videos because it's too traumatic. But if there's one positive thing that has come out of all of this brutality, it's that it has exposed once and for all how sadistic the Egyptian military and police forces are, how sadistic the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces are, and how it's high time that we held Field Marshal Tantawi and his generals who formed that military junta which rules Egypt right now. We have to hold them accountable and take them to court for crimes against the Egyptian people.
Mona, that woman, that iconic photo that the whole world now has seen in the blue bra, and she's brutalized by the Egyptian military the way that she is. She was a woman, she came with a scarf, obviously a religious Muslim. What's the point? Why is this violence against women all of a sudden, and it looks like it's all of a sudden, escalating so awfully?
Well, I mean, to be clear, the violence against men and women has been horrendous over the past few months. But when it comes to women specifically, Wolf, there has been a system in place since the Mubarak regime, since 2005, by which female activists and journalists are targeted by the use of sexual violence as a way of silencing, shaming and humiliating them and keeping them off the street. Now, clearly it has failed because women continue to be on the street. Women were on the street in their thousands yesterday. This woman that you mentioned was on the street demonstrating peacefully. I don't like to refer to her bra because I think she's much more than her bra. Some people are calling her blue bra girl. I hate that. I prefer to call her, as some of my friends on Twitter call her, Tahrir woman, because she is iconic. She is an icon for all the Egyptian women who refuse to be silenced and refuse to be terrorized by the sadistic military forces in Egypt. And what she has done is that she has removed this mask of denial that Tantawi and his military junta have worn for too long. Remember, in March, they subjected female activists to so-called virginity tests, which are essentially sexual assaults. So Mubarak used sexual violence against women. The military used virginity tests. They beat me, sexually assaulted me, and they beat and sexually assaulted this woman here. The military junta in Egypt must go, and the march yesterday in Cairo not only maintains my optimism, but it's clear that Egyptian women are rescuing this revolution and saying no to violence, not just against women, but against men as well.
Mohammed, is there any indication the authorities, the rulers in Egypt, are going to punish anyone for these acts of brutality?
Not at this point, Wolf. It's interesting, last night after the march, there was a statement issued by the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces in which they expressed regret for the violations against Egyptian women. But this just didn't wash with the female activists that we've been speaking with. The people that we've been talking to say that they have been systematically targeted for abuse, that it has continued. And nobody thinks that that we've spoken with, the activists that we've spoken with that are out day after day, nobody believes that the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces is going to hold anybody accountable, that they're going to hold anybody accountable, any of the riot police that have appeared in any of these videos brutalizing these women and these men. And that just heightens the frustration and heightens the tension here. Wolf?
Mohammed Jamjoon, Mona Eltahawy, guys, thanks very much. What an awful, awful story. We'll stay on top of it. Appreciate it. Other news we're following.